3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, January 25th, 2024. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So I'd just like to thank everybody for tuning in. I'll get into the comments in just a second. But thank you all for tuning in. If you are tuning in now or even after the live and you're watching this, please make sure to hit that like button so that we can expand our reach, so that we can help even the ones in the community who aren't being alerted to these lives until after they're put out. Make sure to hit the like button, and it'll allow it to, force YouTube to push us through the algorithm just a little bit, and it'll make it worth the algorithm's time to push this out to each and every person watching who's already subscribed. So please hit that like button and share this on social media. And also subscribe if you're new or returning, as we're approaching 20,000 subscribers. Lot to talk about today as far as XRP with the downward momentum we look to acquire, and try to break this descending triangle. We'll talk about that right off the bat, and try to get down into an extreme oversold condition. If we do get into that extreme oversold condition, we're going to find a historic buying opportunity. And what I mean by that is it's going to be a historic rebound. So if we do come down there and we are that overextended, we don't get any more further up top corrections here, and we can just fall down in a unified way, it would be historic what would come after the drop. And I think a lot of people would be caught off guard, because even if that meant that you'd come down to that 2022 rising channel from June of 2022, and then it just bounces back to the top resistance, you're talking about a pretty big bounce in a short amount of time. Could be a case where you buy $1,000 worth of something, and within a few days it's up to $1,700, in just a matter of days, because it bounces back to the top of the formation. So you do with that with what you will, but it could end up being a pretty interesting time. So let me turn the comments on. Tanya, welcome in, love. Justin, good evening. Matt, Mo, welcome in. Well, good to see everybody in here so far. I'll comment more as I get more comments so that I can see. Let's see. Mark Caston, welcome in. John Hall, good evening, brother. Jan, welcome in, love, and thank you for the 2-year badge. I see multiples with the 6-month badge, one with the year-long badge, Jan with the 2-year plus badge, and Tom's Army. I greatly appreciate that. Mario Lewis, welcome in. Cezanne, Wooter, Michael Wallace, JW, good evening, my friend, with the 1-year badge, the I told you so badge. How did you, my friend? John Landon with the 589 badge. Exciting times indeed, my friend. Thank you for the continued support. Randall, welcome in. Shout out, Tom. Beautiful Naples, Florida. Indeed. Welcome in from Florida. Robert, good evening. Oh, Jan, I appreciate you just as much. Thank you very much. Julie, you can turn that light on. You can turn the kitchen light on. No, it is fine. It doesn't reflect. It was just that hallway light. XRP, like I said, down 0.87%. And we'll get into this real quickly, because I think it's fascinating not to look at there, but to look at in this perspective here. Let's get out of the monthly. And we have rounded a little bit today, which sucks, but that's okay. It should be up for rejection. But what I'm looking for is to break this initial descending channel we formed. On this breakdown, we formed a descending channel, or not a channel, descending triangle, but it's within the rising channel. So basically, if this descending triangle played out perfectly, it could come down and have a quick pull down here. It could even come to 458. See, right now it's 44, but as we move on, let's say it does fill this out all the way. So get you into sometime in March. So end of March, roughly. Actually, right at the end of March, March 31st. If it does this, and then you'd have a descending structure filled out. And that's just if it were to fill it to the end. What I think would happen is it would come through quicker, and you'd have a breakdown. Now, if it does break down, there is one caveat to this quick rebound. Let's just say we break down, right? And I think it's pretty certain here that this is a descending triangle, at least on the right arm part of this. And the thing that catches you, and you should be paying very close attention, this rising channel resistance up here, the fact we couldn't get above and maintain it for 3 separate pushes, just in that immediate formation, and now it looks like a Batman top. We would have to watch for one more bearish resistance, support, resistance, down to support. Let's just say maybe it comes to 533. I hope it doesn't even come that far. But if we break down, you'd have to watch for the rebound hit. And if you got rejected by this again, then it would be a problem. Because essentially you could go from 40 to 49.50 cents, and then if it just breaks down and gets rejected, then you could be looking at a bigger drop. But if we look at it from a relative strength index or perspective from the relative strength of XRP, real quick though, does that make sense? This little part of the descending structure we're in, the grand pattern we're in right now, if you go back to the June of 2022 formation, it's a rising channel. Yes, we are absolutely. I agree with that, Cezanne. The disbelief stage, I like that. I like that. Robert Boyd, welcome in. Good evening. But I'm just curious, does everybody see that descending structure right there within the rising channel that was formed now on this last most recent drop? But the 4 hourly, we were in oversold. We're coming up right now. Could be coming up to that 20-day rejection. That's what we're looking for. We really want to see, and it's in our best interest for us to get rejected at the 20-day. If it doesn't get rejected up there at 518, we must get rejected. We don't want to come all the way back up again just to fill it out. Then you just push back up to 58, and then it's just going to do this until March if it gets rejected. It has been a while since we've had 5 daily red candles. It certainly has. And it looks like we're probably going to fall red, obviously, again today. But, I mean, we had 2, basically obsolete candles there. But we already know we have the death cross here. And, honestly, I just wanted to finish this break. If we can come down, we would have a much better shot bouncing off of 44 or 45, depending on how long it takes. Look where we're at in the daily. We're in oversold already. 4 hourly came out of oversold, but maybe it's just for the rejection and a push back down, hopefully. 2 hourly's pushing back up pretty quickly. But it looks like a jank reversal here, and I hope it's not. I hope it's not, because XRP is in dire need of clearing the rest of this out. The reason why it's so important to clear out the relative strength on all levels is the technical trader will eat this up along with, and then the institutions will likely get on board because they know the technical traders are going to eat it up when the indicators are telling them. They're jumping off the charts. The indicators are going to be screaming buy if it breaks down to the rising channel support. I guarantee it. Not just from relative strength. Anybody who uses the technical indicators of anything, it's going to be screaming buy because it's going to be so overextended. Much like how we knew it was coming down because it was screaming in all time frames. It was being overextended to the buy side. So we're overbought. That's why we come down. In this other regard, we could be extremely oversold in the next week. If we continue down for Sunday, if somehow by Sunday we're down around 44, 45 cents, you're going to expect an extreme reversal. I don't care. That's fine. But it's going to be an interesting proposition we got going here, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of noise here because Julie's got her groceries that she's bringing in. I just told her I didn't care if she made noise, so we'll just have to deal with it. The weekly time frame. Again, that weekly, where's this 200 at? 518. 518. So we don't want to come back above there right now. We just need to finish 44 cents. The faster the better. We also get a little bit of a correlation here with Bitcoin, where it actually supports our thesis here. If you want to call it a thesis, like our statement. Oh. But Bitcoin is outside of this broadening wedge, and it looks to be getting its rejection here. As long as now Bitcoin stays underneath 40,700, which I don't know if we're even going to come back up there. Remember, we made a push there once. So now it's a matter of, do we get rejected at 39,868 level now? So if that happens, Bitcoin, I already know the date with Destiny for Bitcoin. It's on my other chart. We've talked about it many times. You'd be coming up to that uptrending support here. And this is where we thought it had to dump down ultimately to that daily 200 day. So Bitcoin to 35,000, XRP to 44 cents. It would completely flip Bitcoin's problem here of being overextended to the top side. It would come down a lot. Oh wow. It says dad on the back too. So yeah, I mean Bitcoin definitely looks like it needs to come down some. Daily time frame, it would do wonders if it would come down here to the 200. It really would. It really would, and that comes from much farther back in the pattern. This pattern is not busted yet. It just needed a big consolidation. If you wouldn't have got that consolidation, this would have been over. It was so overextended. Had we have got that push up, as we talked about the 53,000, it would have just been done. No second chances. You would have come way, way, way down. But I think this pullback could be just what the doctor ordered, because I think with this Bitcoin ETF, you sell out right now, get a bunch of liquidity built up, and then you can see the exchanges. And now in the stock market, a lot of them are loading up on Bitcoin. They're loading up on different, different amounts of it, but they're starting to load up for the exposure on the ETF side. So, I mean, that's good. That'll get some new money pushing in. But is it possible for Bitcoin to give us a short squeeze before a bigger draw? Absolutely. Absolutely it is. And the short squeeze, and that's why I keep saying I hope it goes down. But the way it's setting up, especially, you can see it on XRP, you can see it on Bitcoin. It could pull up, and that would ruin our dreams, because then we'd probably come up not just to 40,500. It's more than likely going to want to retest this busted old bull flag. And I know it turned into a broadening wedge, as we can see with our chart that we have on here. But before, if it comes back up into here, it's going to retest the old structure that was built. Just because it created a new one doesn't mean it can't come back and backtest the old one. So then you could say, oh, we even came back up to the bull flag that was there before they expanded into a broadening wedge. And it even got rejected at that level, so there is no hope. I certainly don't want to push to 42,000. I certainly hope the push was that 40,600 was the push, and then we start breaking down. I also hope that we start playing off of this daily bearish cross here that's looming, very large here. But I also can see it might have put in a very small bull flag to retest 41,600, which will suck, because it'll be short-term gains before more long-term pain, just like we did before, when Bitcoin decided to go to 47 instead of back down. It's no different. And Bitcoin right now, honestly, it needs help. It needs help in the down direction. In the weekly, it's still in a very bad place. It's going to look a little better, but if it just gains all these back from the weekly, you don't want to be pushing back to the top. You want this to have a huge sell-off. If it sold all the way down to 35, Bitcoin it could be pushing down in that oversold areas by next week. And some would say, well, look how far it came down in the other weekly. Why didn't it do it there? Well, that's because it was in bullish territory, remained in the green territory. So all it did was pulled it from extreme bought, as you can see, and just dragged it down here. The next move down on this candle could be the one that pulls it extremely down. And even if it's just in a neutral area, it'll make it very desirable from a weekly perspective being in neutral. And the daily would be extremely oversold if it does it from here. The 4-hourly would push into extreme oversold. All time frames would start pushing into the extreme oversold. It's got to not break up here. And you know what ends up happening here most times? This breaks up. I'm showing you what I think needs to happen, but I'm also telling you what is more than likely going to happen before a short-term, we get to realize what we want. But just remember, every time this bounces up, the farther it can now come down. Just because 44 cents would have been the end-all be-all here if it does break down, doesn't mean it will be the case if it goes back up and the relative strength is overbought again, and then it has to come through layer after layer. See, this is where we can get caught in a game where it always looks good to buy. Then we have the artificial rally up, and then it just completely flips over the relative strength, and now the technical trader's out of the loop again. You don't want that. We need the technical trader in the loop. Otherwise, we're not going to have liquidity here. We're just not going to have liquidity. So please make sure to hit that like button. 65 people watching, 44 likes. I'd greatly appreciate that. I would greatly appreciate that. Yeah, prosperity. There's always a chance at 38 cents. We got to get through the rising channel at 44 cents first. It all depends this next bounce. If XRP gets a bounce back up here and we retest these broken structures and it doesn't break down out of the descending triangle that it's in the shorter time frame, or in the shorter time, then yeah, 38 cents would more than likely be on the table because 44 wouldn't hold. Right now, though, if we do this properly and just break down and don't keep pushing this descending triangle and just break to the bottom to this rising channel here below this descending triangle, I think a bounce to here, then obviously you have to see how it reacts if it comes back to 49, but you need it to bounce here in a very short order. You need to start selling out of these higher categories here because we're in a very good spot if it would just dump one more layer. Even on a weekly perspective, if this would keep dumping for the week down to 4, I mean, this would look real good to start next week for a rebound. Absolutely. From 44, your possibility isn't just 60. You're looking for a rebound up to almost 68 cents to come retest the rising channel. Remember, since June of 2022, every time it didn't break the pattern, it always went back to the opposite side. If it didn't bust it. Resistance, down to support, back to resistance. Where was this at? I don't even think it went all the way back down there. No. It went support back here, resistance, support, resistance, roundabout, even came through, back down, back up, back down. Now, if it comes to support, it looks like it needs to do it. I mean, it makes sense to come down here. Plus, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but like, you got a head formation here. You could almost say that was a head and shoulders. You know, like you had a topping pattern. But it's in our best interest to come to 44. And then it needs to hold 44. Otherwise, as Prosperity Fund pointed out, 38 cents is absolutely on the table. Absolutely on the table. Because this is the all-time pattern from 2020 right here. And then below it's 2017. Below that's 2015. So all you got to do is follow it. And I mean, it's almost on the money right at 38 cents now. As we push it out, let's just say we're out in the future, February 12th. That's 37.7. Say that's about as close to 38 cents as you're going to want to say. And then you'll get even a better chance, too, because it's a little bit below it. But yeah, we're coming into a historic moment here. But you got to stay on top of it, everybody. Most people are disappearing right now when all the information's there. Imagine getting out of the loop right now when you've almost rode it out until maximum capacity. We've all been watching. Oh, yeah, 38 cents would be the end-all, be-all. I'm just saying 44 cents would be the first where we would have to actually pay attention to. Maybe 45 if it pushes the March. But you have to watch that level. It hasn't busted in almost 2.5 years. Or almost 2 years now, because it was June of 2022. So, it's been about 1.5 years. So you have to pay attention. The 2020 uptrend's been there since, obviously 2020. That's over 4 years. 2015 is a 9-year formation. But all of this is based on all-time highs and coming down now. And then I just measured it from different parts of the pattern, where we had parabolic moves up, where we had a real uptrend started, where we had it's just a cool thing. Oh, that is absolutely manipulation. That's Bybit. So basically, Bybit, they just killed their futures traders purposely. It never went to 44, never even came close. Just being honest. I'm just being honest with you, because in January, you shouldn't even have had a close to that event. That means in January here, probably when it came down to that 50, where was this, January 6th, they probably manipulated it on that chart, where it came down to some came down to under 50 cents. They probably manipulated that one for the futures contracts. Oh, it's a big trick in the game. See, this one came down to 497. So it definitely didn't come to 44. It shouldn't have shown. I mean, on some charts it'll show it, especially liquidity or leverage charts. I don't really have much of an opinion to give. I don't have the right education to be, to be the end-all, be-all voice in that regard. But look, everybody, the daily time frame's already in oversold. It's a matter of bouncing out. Ooh, targets below. Yeah. Ooh, not prosperity. You're the first person who asked that. Now we're getting juicy. If we break this target of let me get this out properly. If we were to, let's just say we break through all of this, your next major target, if you're hunting, now obviously, if you break through 38 cents, we all know we've got 34 and some change. There was a big support pivot point there. There's another one around 30 cents. There's another one at like 28.5 cents. And then 24, 20. But we're talking big levels of non-pivot points or non-old resistance support that we have to somehow measly do. No. So if we come through 2020, 2017 right now is approximately 21.5 cents. If you push it out into sometime the late February. So This is where it gets real dicey if we start breaking through some of this. And yeah, like this, for all intents and purposes, doesn't even need to be here. Doesn't need to be here. Doesn't need to be here. Doesn't need to be here. Because I have the other charts, doesn't need to be here. This was just for the momentary pushes so that everybody could see every possibility. So, but for the chart we're on now, since you've seen this is what we have to focus on. In a little descending structure here, like this doesn't matter. That'll be an overextended, even bear flag. Still, you'll see how it could technically still play true, even though it bounced out because it was a fake out. But that's what we're in. So I know, Stanley. I know. I try not to tease everybody with those lower numbers, but man, they're close. I can smell those numbers and taste them. They would taste so good too. I've been waiting for a very long time to buy more XRP for it to come down lower. If, in fact, it does. It may not. Because as you can see, we're going to push into overextended pretty quickly here. Depends how you look at it, Tanya. Depends how you look at it. At least it's not on leap day. If we hit 25 cents, I buy 2.5 million XRP or $2.5 million worth. Either way, you're still looking to drop like 800,000.
A lot of XRP.
XRP beautiful. See, that's why we need to go to those levels. See, that's where big money's at. We need to get down to those uptrends. We need to get back down to... That's a huge gap fill down there, too. See, I just know what they're going to do to us, though. It makes me feel like they're just going to come back, retest, let's do the standard operating procedure with the trading bots, and come back to 56, then come down to 54, or 44, then come back up to 49, then come back down. You know, I don't want it to do standard operating procedure. I prefer it to just dump down to 44 and allow us the opportunity possibly to go from 44 all the way back up to 66, give it the collateral to come all the way down to, 38, 34, 26. It's going to take something more than we have right now to drop us all the way down to those levels. Make no mistake about it. Even if it's a pushback to 53 after coming down to 44, it's going to need to have some kind of mojo here to come up or to come down. Especially from a weekly perspective. I know it's coming down, but as of right now, it doesn't want to give up that weekly golden cross. It takes 2 more weeks approximately, sub 50. The closer to 40, the better if you're looking in that regard. But again, the weekly, look how much it's come down. That's a descending formation in the weekly RSI. Now I want it to come down to a head, make that inverted head. Does anybody see what I'm seeing if it were to make that big? I mean, even in the weekly RSI, look at this. If it came down and made something like this, can't we see what could happen here? And then it would probably go, down. But can't anybody see, like, these structures sometimes end up coming to a big point, then they will bounce out and around. I mean, you could technically find yourself into a big reversal. That's what I'm trying to find. I'm so trying to find an avenue for this to happen. I told everybody I'm not going to be bearish, Tom, but I'm going to be, if it's got to be bearish, it's bearish. And we've been bearish for a while. It's not our fault. But we also can't lie to ourselves. We just got to be transparent each and every day. And one day, depending on where your appropriate levels are, it's going to hit one way or the other. Maybe it already has. Maybe it's waiting. But, I mean, if you're asking me if I see any strength in the 4-hourly, no. Look at the dumb candle. Even on the dumb candle here, we had 11.8 million in 4 hours. Still not a ton. This 4-hour candle, we got 2 minutes left, 3 million. Is that making anybody feel good? 2 million or 3 million in 4 hours when the dumb candle was damn near 12 million. So, I mean, we're not even picking up what we lost. It's a pretty pathetic bounce back. But I look at it from this way as well. Like, now all of a sudden you get a big boost and what happens? And then you see it and you're like, wow, didn't I see that? So I like to do that too, just in case. But don't want it to come here. You want it to, at worst, reject there. I prefer it to reject on this 20-day here in the 4-hourly and just... I want to wake up and see that. I want to wake up and see that. Heck, I want to be awake and see that. 2 minutes until the daily close. I must have been babbling for some half an hour now. I didn't even realize it. Is it really 2 minutes to 7, Julie?
Yes.
Last time I visually focused in on the time, it was 6:41. That seems weird.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I guess. I guess so. 69 people decided to stay.
Yay.
I mean, it's commendable. And
69 people that are happy to see you.
it's commendable. Yeah. Well, happy, sad, looking for the truth. But
They're your friends.
they are my friends. They're my only friends. I don't trust people in real life.
Except for me. Indeed.
Yeah, well, you're different. You're more than a friend. XLM's at 11,171, down 0.82%. I mean, we're firmly stuck in the same area. We're lucky, though. Remember I said we don't want to take that route, and we didn't with XLM. Let's just continue to run down. Hey, we got happy days coming up. I'm telling you, the sadder it looks, the darker, the gloomier, the less interest is these are the good days. These are the good days. Remember, it's not going to happen until everybody gives up, and they're starting to. I've never seen more comments saying they're finally done with XRP than when I started in 21. You know, it's almost been 3 years now, going on 3 in March, end of March of this year, since I started this. And I've never seen more people giving up on XRP than this very moment in time, which is exactly what we've been waiting for. So yeah, XLM, that's what we're looking at right now. It would be the same story as XRP, but again, like we talked about with Bitcoin and XRP, we can see the route where it's going to go for rejection again. For XLM, it would be 11.5 area. It doesn't do us any good. That's a meaningless push just to overextend us again in the shorter time frames. We just want to have that drop. And for XLM, if it comes to 44 cents for XRP, there is a chance you could be sitting at 8.5, but I just wouldn't count on it to go all the way down there. Maybe 9.5. But then when we go into like, oh, wait a minute. I wanted to cover one more thing. H-bar down 1.46% or at 0.71, about 0.715, so 7.15 cents. We called. If we hold this, we could have a big move up, but that's only if it turns into a W. We don't want that. FYI. We're not asking for that, but that's what it seemed like it was going to do before the drop, and now it made the drop and it's starting to round. That was the possibility if it dropped down there. That was your one support hold. If it breaks down, I mean, you're back into the consolidatory phase, and it might drop you to 573. But, I mean, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. Right now, if we come up and we get a rejection up at the top here, it would be interesting. If this turns into a W reversal, it'd be interesting because H-bar looks like it's already got a little flag forming here. And it's not in a bad spot for a reversal. Honestly, it's not. It could have an overzealous reversal. It does look like a head and shoulders pattern, it's already had a topping reversal. Don't think there's any way to avoid that. But it's a descending breakdown, and you can see the W. Tanya, you're a fan. What happens if that? Tanya, you're a fan of H-bar. You see how that could possibly turn into a W? And I didn't just put that in. That's what we had on the drawdown for the breakdown. I know everybody remembers when it was up at like 8.5, 8.6 area when I drew that in. And said I could possibly do a W reversal here. And that's what we'd have to watch for. If you look in the video description below, the one that I like the most, if you can't use MEXC, is BITUNIX. It's in the video description below. It makes it very easy for me because I don't have to do a KYC. So, you know, BITUNIX, just look in the video description below and click on it. I make it very easy. It just links you right up. And then I'll at least be able to be attached to your stuff for if I ever futures trade in the future. But yeah, Tanya, that's what I'm trying to make sure that doesn't happen, because that really does look like it tried to set up there a W reversal. Hopefully not. Hopefully it just takes and some are like, well, what do you mean hopefully not? Well, because if we take this short-term move up, the problem is we're going to have a longer-term move down. I'm not necessarily I don't want that. I think we're setting up for a nice rally in 24 here, a mini bull, like a mini bear market rally. That could be disguised as a mini bull market. XDC is down 0.82% or at 0.44, so 4.4 cents. It's come down almost, well, I mean, it's following exactly a descending triangle, which actually could be an overextended, what one would have said a bull flag, but let's be honest, that's not what it is. It already came through that uptrend, which keeps it in the bullish territory. I mean, this could come all the way down to 3, 4, 5 and embrace it. Look where it's at in the 4 hourly. Embrace it. We don't want it to keep coming back up. It got rejected here. Just finish the move. At this point, you want the stuff to finish the move. Do you know how overextended all this would be and oversold if this actually plays out in all of crypto? One could say, well, how could that happen? Well, it could be the precipice and the catalyst could be the DXY. DXY, they're pumping it right now. It hasn't quite filled out the technical move we talked about, the 104 spot 15. It's close. But if it comes up higher and we break past, I'm just saying, if we break past, like, I'm going to put it on here. It's like 104 spot 54. If it breaks past that and holds, there's no doubt in my mind the federal government could try to push this back up and make it look desirable across the world. Do I think it can get to 108? More than likely, no. But would I put it past our government? No. I would not. So that could be the catalyst. Gold and silver, unfortunately, I've said the same thing about, or I'll just stick with gold, but I've said the same thing about crypto. If gold takes this dump down to my technical target of 1930 that I was talking about since it was around 2100, if it makes that move, look out. That's all we need to reconsolidate and clear out the relative strength of the gold. And it would make it very, 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 very desirable for anybody who hasn't bought gold, any of the long-term investors, and anybody who's looking to swing it. It's going to be very, very desirable if it comes down to 1930. I am begging it. It would bring my B2 gold anywhere between $2.40 and $2.28. And I'd be very, very happy. Very, very happy as it's all on the sidelines. So we'll see. We shall see. We shall see. I mean, that's basically all I wanted to cover. I feel pretty good about this live. XRP's daily close ended up at just over 51 cents. If we look at the daily candle here, we've now technically held within oversold. Now we want to continue this move. Break us down here, break our back, and then make everybody think XRP is the biggest pile of shit on the planet. Bring us down to 44 cents, and I believe we're going to have a fantastic reversal if we can come down there. I just don't think that's what's happening. Unfortunately, I think what's going to happen is we're probably going to end up at 533, maybe even as far back up as 57 cents, which is going to be a full and bona fide disaster. Some will say, well, Tom, at least it's bringing our portfolios up for how long, though? If we do have this reversal that it looks like it could have, I'm just telling you, you want to deal with this short-term problem. Unfortunately, we're not even that far through the descending triangle. Almost makes it look like it wants to FOMO some out of the short positions, come back up and liquidate the shorts just to come up and then liquidate. I don't know. It just needs to break down. I think everybody can see what needs to happen here. A break up is going to be longer-term pain. A breakdown is going to bring us rejoice. Some won't be with us anymore, but we're going to rejoice. They won't trade anymore. So have a blessed evening, everybody. Thank you all so much. I think we did a great job in 33 minutes. And that's about all I got mentally, emotionally, and physically tonight. So thank you, everybody. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. We have plenty of time, and we'll be back tomorrow. As we got back into the grind today, we did the live this morning, or the update this morning. Did the live at around noon, 12:30. I did a short and then the live tonight. I think we're all on the same page. If you wouldn't mind, please hit that like button on the way out and share this. And then obviously subscribe to the channel if you appreciate what I do. As we're very close to 19,700 subscribers now. We're within, I think, 20, 18. And then, no, 25. And then if you're looking to trade XRP, futures, leverage, or just spot trading, it's in the video description below. Thank you, everybody who's in Tom's Army. If you're not in Tom's Army yet, it is my greatest wish that more of you will join Tom's Army and pay it forward, since I don't capitalize on the paid promotions, advertisements, or sponsorships, so that you don't have to get scammed and you can have a clean viewing experience unlike every other community.